Beneath the flooded hallways and rotted wall of the Baker estate in Resident Evil 7, a terrifying new threat emerged: the mold. In the Resident Evil universe, the mold, or Mutamycete, is a unique fungal organism that originated in an Eastern European mountain range. It was discovered by Mother Miranda, who used it in her research to try and resurrect her deceased daughter. This living fungus infects corpses, twisting their bodies into grotesque creatures known as the molded. Unlike traditional zombie types, these fungal horrors can slip silently through walls, regenerate lost limbs, and even fuse multiple bodies into towering monstrosities. Each molded creature connects to a larger mycelial hive, making them relentless and virtually impossible to fully eliminate. Even the smallest spores can affect new hosts, turning every breath into a new potential risk. At the dark heart of this fungal nightmare stands Evelyn, the chillingly innocent-looking young girl who embodies the apex of mold evolution. Engineered as a bioweapon capable of psychological manipulation and psychic control, Evelyn spreads her influence through airborne spores that invade the mind of her victims. She can implant vivid hallucinations, command hordes of molded to attack, and even reshape reality within her vicinity. Created by the sketchy-ass organization known as the Connections, Evelyn was designed to infiltrate enemy territory and destabilize it from within, making her an unsettling threat. With Evelyn's powers blurring the lines between supernatural horror and biological science, Resident Evil 7 and Village delivered some of the most psychologically intense and gripping moments of the franchise. In the remote villages of rural Spain, the Ganados represents a horrifying evolution beyond the shambling undead you might expect. These ordinary villagers have been infected with Las Plagas, a brain-inhabiting parasite first discovered centuries ago and sealed away by the Salazar bloodline, only to be unearthed and weaponized by cult leader Osmond Saddler in 2004. Once implanted, the parasite hijacks the central nervous system and effectively drives its host, granting enough retained intelligence for Ganados to wield firearms, set deadly traps, and coordinate ambushes. Whether through a well-timed flashbang or even a precise knife strike, or a carefully placed shot severs the parasite's hold and leaves the former host in straight crash-out mode, incapable of coordinated movement. Through the Ganados, Resident Evil 4 introduced a new level of tactical dread. Enemies who don't merely wander towards you, but hunt like soldiers driven by parasitic will. Osmond Saddler's Plaga strain evolved into regenerators that first appeared in Castle Dimitras when cult leader Esmond Saddler injects hosts with his modified Plaga strain, creating grotesque hulks whose bodies sprout nodules that let them regrow limbs and organs almost instantly. You can't really stop them with regular guns until you destroy every visible nodule. They can even pull bullets out of their flesh and keep it pushing. Iron Maidens take regeneration a step further. The cult wrap their bodies in thick flesh armor that shields most nodules. When you attack, they drop explosive Plaga eggs like grenades. These eggs burst on impact and spread parasitic spores. You must hit the small gaps in their armor or use fire to burn away the flesh plating. Otherwise, they simply heal and strike again. By 2009, TRICELL had taken control of Las Plagas research, thanks in part to Albert Wesker supplying fresh parasite samples and corporate executive Excella Gion overseeing experimentation. TRICELL tricked the Indapaya tribe into receiving injections that were supposedly vaccinations for a disease, but were actually eggs of the type 3 Las Plagas. Under their direction, standard villagers turned Mahjani, gaining super strength, rapid healing, and enough retained awareness to wield firearms and basic tactics. TRICELL's first field test in the Kajuju Autonomous Zone unleashed these Mahjani on unsuspected populations, sparking a full-scale outbreak. Early Mahjani looked much like Ganados, but with a feral edge. Some local wetland Mahjani stunned survivors with their agility, leaping from riverbanks and moving across rooftops like it was nothing. As the company pushed boundaries, two advanced variants emerged. Type 2 Mahjani fused mineral crystals into their flesh, sprouting horn-like blades and armored plating. Their jagged exoskeletons could deflect small-caliber rounds until the embedded Plaga core was shattered. Type 3 Majani went further. TRICELL grafted experimental tissues to produce bloated, blob-like forms capable of explosive self-destruction. When critically damaged, these hosts detonated in a fiery blast, scattering toxic parasite fragments and turning entire rooms into death traps. The Majani retained enough, I guess we can say brain function, to follow basic commands, making them tools in TRICELL's warfare. Standard Majani still collapsed once their parasite bulb was destroyed, but Type 2 and Type 3 required heavy bullet work or incineration to truly end them. Resident Evil 5 showcased how far a corporation can go when it treats living hosts as disposable test subjects, turning human beings into ever-escalating instruments of biological terror. The Umbrella Corporation's original bioweapon project, dating back to 1968, around the time the company was originally founded, aimed for controllable super soldiers. By injecting humans with the T-virus and enhancing them with stem cell treatments, Umbrella produced Tyrants, towering brutes of raw power, pain-resistant bodies, and at least a basic level of obedience. The first successful model, T1, proved unstoppable until developers realized the destruction of its head stem was a fundamental weakness and remained its Achilles heel. Later models like the T102 and T103 series refined strength and compliance, cementing the Tyrant as the franchise's ultimate boss, the embodiment of Umbrella's feelings of superiority. After Raccoon City's fall, Umbrella implanted the NEA parasite into a T103 Tyrant. This parasite acts as a secondary brain, significantly increasing the Tyrant's intelligence and allowing it to follow complex instruction. This created an overpowered Nemesis T-type, a relentless hunter programmed to exterminate surviving Star operatives. Unlike earlier Tyrants, Nemesis speaks, which is kind of a stretch because all I've heard him ever say is stars, adapts tactics mid-fight due to the implanted parasite, and wields a plasma-reinforced tentacle along with a bunch of other shit like a flamethrower and rocket launcher. Though still vulnerable at its chest due to its exposed heart, in the Resident Evil 3 remake, we see a large device anchored to Nemesis' chest, which acted as a power limiter or protective armor for the exposed heart. Its unpredictable mutations and crashouts earned it a reputation as one of the series' most iconic monsters. In 2012, Neo Umbrella unveiled Ustanok, a highly intelligent B.O.W. and living siege engine fused with heavy armored plating and a multi-purpose harpoon launcher with similar traits to the Nemesis T-type Pursuer in 2011. Its name, derived from the Serbian word for revolution, reflects its purpose as a force not to be fucked with. The Ustanok was first deployed in Edonia, where it successfully tracked Jack Muller, who possesses the C-virus antibodies, and Sherry Birkin. It was also deployed to guard Umbrella's Eastern European assets. Ustanok's methodical advance and its right arm, a prominent feature, is cybernetically modified and can attach various mechanical arms and weapon attachments, turning it into a slow but very effective death machine. The Ustanok adapts its arm attachment based on the environment it's deployed in, demonstrating how Tyrant tech evolved from covert assassins to OP battlefield weapons. The Ouroboros program birthed the Giavo, victims infected through direct exposure to the C-strain virus by Neo Umbrella and loyal to Carla Radames. Their name comes from the Serbian word Diavo, meaning devil, a label given by the BSAA European research team. In 2012 to 2013, Giavo formed the backbone of the family's paramilitary forces in East Asia. Neo Umbrella grew out of Umbrella's collapse, reassembling the former researchers into a covert corporate military network under Wesker and Radames. They built Black Op labs across Europe, South America, and East Asia, enabling rapid deployment of bioweapons like the Giavo where regional conflicts demanded it. On the battlefield, they can consciously trigger powerful mutations. Unlike classic zombie types, Giavo mutate on the fly, regrowing severed limbs, sprouting bone claws, and forming armored plating as the fight demands. Retaining human intelligence, these mercenaries coordinate attacks, tactics, and even communicate, turning each encounter into a battle against evolving creatures. Only total destruction of their brain or spinal cord ends the pursuit. This adaptability made them Neo Umbrella's deadliest experiments, a living weapon that combined human intelligence with unstoppable, evolving flesh. In parallel Russian efforts, the Overseer virus aimed to produce perfect soldiers. Its test subjects became revenants, acid-secreting monsters whose corrosive blood can eat through armor, slower to regenerate than Giavo, but still a problem. Revenants occasionally summon swarms of lesser infected, showing that Overseer's real innovation lay in combining viral aggression with hive mind tactics. Developed in clandestine Siberian facilities, these experiments often use both adult volunteers and unwilling pediatric subjects. It's always cringe when you see people experimenting on the youth, but in this Resident Evil world we're in, nothing surprises me at this point. Each revenant contains luminescent pustules, damn near like blackheads or pimples that house volatile virus glands. Destroying these early can halt their acid-spreading difficulties. Higher-ranked revenant can emit pheromone signals to rally nearby test creatures, effectively directing small-scale coordinated assaults. Umbrella's initial experiments in cross-species genetic fusion took place in the secretive hive labs beneath the Arklay Mountains. The Hunter A emerged from these twisted efforts, merging amphibian genes with T-virus mutations to create incredibly agile predators boasting heavily armored bodies and razor-sharp claws. When Umbrella later exposed these creatures to the volatile Ouroboros biomass, the Hunter B was born, showcasing enhanced aggression, larger physical frames, and acidic blood capable of burning through protective armor. Further experimentation with Las Plagas parasites resulted in the Hunter Y variant, creatures linked by a hive mind coordinating precise pack attacks and burrowing beneath terrain to ambush unsuspected targets. Umbrella's final iteration, the Hunter R, took regeneration to a terrifying new level, grafting enzyme-based reinforcement to regrow lost limbs almost immediately. Each Hunter generation built on the advancements of the last, creating bioweapons perfectly designed to hunt, overwhelm, and dominate their prey with relentless, animalistic fury. Umbrella didn't just keep their twisted ambitions to the land. Along isolated coastal laboratories, their experiments produced the Neptune, also designated FI-3, humanoid creatures genetically enhanced with fish-like traits. They boasted webbed limbs, ultrasonic screeches capable of stunning prey, and underwater agility unmatched by any human pursuer. Umbrella envisioned these aquatic assassins as maritime patrols capable of silently eliminating intruders beneath the waves. Meanwhile, in Royal Spain, the cult known as Los Iluminados utilized Las Plagas parasites to transform a massive salamander specimen into Del Lago, a gigantic reservoir guardian. Its colossal size allowed it to crush entire boats, while its acidic blood contaminated surrounding waters, making direct confrontation extremely deadly. Every lake crossing became a tense gamble against the lurking behemoth capable of dragging victims beneath the surface without warning. From humanoid hunters beneath the waves to lake-dwelling monstrosities, these aquatic horrors revealed how bioweapon technology had truly begun to conquer every corner of the earth, even beneath the water. In the shadowy caverns beneath the Arklay Mountains, Umbrella Corporation weaponized primal human fears. The Web Spinner, a gigantic arachnid bioweapon, descended silently from the ceilings, trapping unfortunate victims in webs stronger than steel. Deeper within their labs, researchers developed the Black Widow, merging genetic splicing with the deadly venom of real-world Leptrodectus spiders. A single bite could paralyze prey within seconds, ensuring swift capture and containment. Later, the Los Iluminados cult perfected this anthropod nightmare by creating Novistadors, plaga-infected insectoid creatures capable of silent flight and rapid ambushes. Their ability to release parasitic offspring mid-attack transformed caves into relentless gauntlets, with each flutter of their wings signaling another imminent assault. With these creatures the line between nature and nightmare blurred completely, unleashing primal terror that would scare the shit out of anybody. In Africa, TRICELL pushed arthropod experimentation even further, creating twisted horror that balanced explosive power with stealth infiltration. The Bui Kishwa were mutated insects engineered as living airborne explosives. Their swollen, balloon-like bodies filled with corrosive acid that detonated violently upon contact, turning confined spaces into death traps. Contrasting their explosive cousins, the Kepepeo emerged as silent, moth-like plaga carriers, stealthily gliding towards targets unnoticed. They deposited parasitic larvae onto victims, whose flesh would be slowly and gruesomely consumed from the inside out, defying medical intervention. Together, these bioweapons revealed TRICELL's ruthless intent, creating biological threats that could infiltrate quietly, strike violently, and spread horror through both psychological terror and visceral physical destruction. Umbrella's botanical wing engineered ivy, a semi-sentient vine network injected with potent plant toxins. Ivy's tendrils could snare victims from as far as 20 meters away, while its photosynthesis-powered regeneration made daylight as dangerous as darkness. Project YX amplified toxin potency by 300%, introducing hallucinogenic spores and electrically charged thorns into this living prison of roots. The Ivy plus YX could even release autonomous spore drones, scouting areas and ensuring prey never escaped its grasp. From standard cultists to heavily armored armadura soldiers encased in bony plating, Las Plagas proved extraordinarily versatile. Neo Umbrella further weaponized plagas with Genezdo biofoam dispensers that launched spores onto walls, converting entire structures into parasite nurseries. The Mezzet strain merged devastating viral cytokine storms with larva plaga infections, transforming infected environments into lethal contamination zones. These developments elevated parasitic warfare from simple mind control to a gnarly form of territory denial. Project Arclay's initial splicing experiments brought forth the Chimera, horrific hybrids merging avian DNA into leonine bodies capable of gliding silently on thin, pliable, and often transparent layered wings. Another experiment, the Albinoid, was designed as a stealth infiltrator, possessing enhanced night vision and secreting acidic sweat to breach metal barriers silently. Early encounters revealed its unsettling ability to climb sheer surfaces effortlessly, hinting at Umbrella's ambition to create versatile bioweapons that defied conventional defenses. Los Iluminados' ruthless plaga experiments led to the birth of El Gigante, an enormous humanoid brute strong enough to rip trees from the ground and hurl massive boulders. Meanwhile, TRICELL developed Indesu, a colossal fusion of elephant-like mass and amphibious agility capable of tearing through military barricades and armored vehicles effortlessly. These towering giants showed how far bioorganic weaponry had evolved, from lurking terrors to massive battlefield juggernauts capable of reshaping entire conflicts. Neo Umbrella continued to escalate bioweapon scale and aggression with Orgroman, a towering tyrant-class beast covered in sharp-boned spines. Its insane regeneration forced survivors to rely on powerful anti-material weaponry just to slow it down. In Revelations 2, their experiments reached a terrifying apex with the House prototype, massive tentacled creatures engineered to assault battleships directly by hurling acidic ink and armor-plating pods, signaling Neo Umbrella's desire to dominate naval combat as well as land-based warfare. In Resident Evil Village, the B.O.W parasite gave rise to Urias Drak, an intimidating 6-meter-tall vampiric giant residing deep within Castle Dimitras. More than just sheer brute force, Urias possessed the eerie ability to summon swarms of bat-like creatures, commanding them through psychic links to attack intruders from all sides. By turning the castle's dark catacombs into his personal hunting grounds, Urias Drak represented a chilling fusion of ancient myth and modern bioweapon horror, showing just how monstrous B.O.W's potential truly was.